Kenny B hanging out with the lead singer of Secondhand Serenade, John Vesely, up in the house. How you doing, brother?
Hello. I'm freaking great. I'm doing very well. I like the heat. I'm into it. I'm a California boy, so this is more me.
I was talking to my buddy in California. You guys just had an earthquake there, by the way. Just to let
Did
you
we?
know. Yeah.
You know, it happens like almost every week, and people say, like, it's funny because people, people say that. And before I moved to LA, I was like, I was even from Northern California. We've had some like major earthquakes, obviously, but like, I was like, okay, they're exaggerating. It's the whole like California thing. I get it. We have earthquakes, but like, no, seriously, we have a lot of earthquakes there. So like, we don't, really. Like half the time we don't even notice it because Los Angeles is so big,
Exactly.
and so it's like either south or north or east of us. But yeah, usually it's not that bad, thankfully.
This whole city was in an uproar because we just actually had one like a week and a half,
which is not very normal.
And it was a 5.0 on the scale.
That's not even a
baby bump for you guys.
Yeah, no, it's like it's it is what it is, and especially since like we had the bigger earthquakes like the 89 in Northern California, and then but everything's all set up for earthquakes. It's made like like for instance Phoenix is set up for heat, whereas you guys aren't used to this heat right now, right? So you guys are kind of freaking out, and like I've seen hotter.
Yeah.
But like you guys aren't set up for it, so it's the same kind of thing.
We're hotter than Texas. We're hotter than Phoenix. My boy says we're hotter than Cali right now, where you're from. So it's a hot one out here.
I'm enjoying it.
Definitely underwear sticking to your booty and other parts. Now,
which is nice.
You guys, they call you guys an acoustic rock band. What would you label yourself as?
Well, it's just honestly, it is my solo project.
Yeah.
And so like it's just it kind of is. I would at this point I'd say kind of alternative.
Okay.
It's a mix. We have some upbeat, like especially on the new album, we have like a lot of upbeat, faster stuff, and then we have some more rhythmic stuff. Like the new single "Something More" is definitely more rhythmic, and it's something that we I just ended up producing and making in a bedroom in my house.
Yeah.
And so like it's one of those really like homegrown recordings, but like it sounds no different than anything else on the album. And it's just it was like a last minute addition. So it's really diverse, and all I can really call it is alternative, I guess.
Well, you've been part of the ska quote unquote era when you're jumping around starting out your career and stuff. Because your dad was a jazz
he was a jazz musician for a long time.
What instrument did he play?
He played tenor and soprano sax, clarinet, flute, accordion. He was like all over the map and played all of them really, really well. So it's like wow. and then my brother is.
Do you have any favorite jazz artists?
Do I? Like I'm not. I don't have any particular favorites. I mean, Benny Goodman was awesome.
I like the Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, there you go.
So. Awesome,
good. Yeah. And my dad played with some pretty awesome guys. I mean, my dad was killer, and he played a lot of Dixieland stuff too.
Oh, really?
And it was pretty awesome time.
Well, I find it amazing though with a lot of musicians how many of them come from musical backgrounds.
Or
some form of musical background.
Well, the thing is, especially you don't want to get pushed into it, but if it's always around you, you're going to have an inclination towards it. Exactly. Now, see, my parents, my dad kind of pushed me into it at a young age, and I like really rejected it and picked it up again when I was older because I wanted to. And I think that's what's really important, especially with kids growing up. It's you got to let them figure out what they want.
Now, I want to talk about before, like we're going into your third album now.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
that's correct.
I want to talk about you being the entrepreneur that you are. From what I understand, you were bringing in up to $20,000 a month in downloads and merch sales.
I was doing well
out of your house.
Yeah, out of my house. Well, I mean, the thing is, like, I didn't really have to do much. I recorded an album, and this was before I got signed. So I recorded an album. Which was more, for personal accomplishment than anything else. It's like it was time. I wanted to have like a real recording, so I like dished up a bunch of money. I borrowed some from my dad, which, by the way, was the biggest, most amazing investment I've ever made in my life.
Rate must have been great, eh?
Because I turned it. No, it was really, really great, and so I did a recording, like threw it up on MySpace, and at that time I was spending a lot of time, doing promotion. And eventually, like after I got it up on iTunes and stuff, it was like really bringing in a lot of sales. And I was like, I can quit my job and focus on this. So I quit my job and just like you know, it was online for like, I was working at Neiman Marcus. It's you know, a department store doing like personal shopping stuff. And I was just, I was over it and I wanted to focus on music and I could. So I just spent a lot of time on the internet. Like, you know, I'd play a show here and there.
Yeah.
But like there was no need for me to tour and nor was there really means for me to tour. But like,
I was came knocking on your door.
I was just, the label. Well, I mean, I got through like a manager and me touched base over MySpace, ironically enough.
Yeah.
And he didn't know I wasn't represented yet, but then I wasn't, and so he's like, all right, let's work something out, and eventually we started shopping labels and found a deal.
Now, we're going to get you to perform in just a few moments, but people might remember that big 2008 hit, followed way back in the day.
Way back in the day.
I feel like Casey
no,
Kasem
it's
there
true.
for a second. But that song went gold, platinum in many countries.
Yeah, that song went platinum in the U.S., gold in Australia. I actually don't know. It might be platinum in Australia now. I'm not sure where it is with a lot of things. But
before we get into that song, let's talk about the name of the group, Secondhand Serenade. The women are just going to go, after they hear
I hope so.
After they hear this story, it was a reference.
It was a reference, yeah. Like when I started singing, like I was at the time, I wasn't even, you know, I was with a girl that I eventually had married, and I was, you know, writing all my songs about her, obviously, because who else would I write about? And I'd get in trouble if I was writing about somebody else. And so I was obviously writing, you know, about her, and so, you know, when I'd write the song, which, by the way, writing isn't very, you know, glamorous if you're living with the person, because you hear him like hollering and making up words and it sounds awful. It sounds like, it does not sound like a professional sounds when they're playing a show.
All right.
And so, nor was I a professional at that point. I was, you know, not at all, which you know, brings to question if I'm even a professional now. But you know, we do what we do, and I love to do it. But so yeah, I'd write my songs about her, and then I'd go out and play shows, and so, you know, I'd be giving the Secondhand Serenade to the fans, more or less.
That's awesome, though, how you got that. All right, how about we take everybody back in time with Fall For You?
Awesome, man. Sounds good.
All right, Secondhand Serenade, John Vesely up in the house. Kenny B hanging out. Live performance right now on the new Hot 89.9.